Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our monthly Leadership Basics training. I'm so excited to have each of you here, and I look forward to being able to share some great information with you regarding leadership. Well, my name is Dadra Driscoll, and I am a management consultant, and I am looking forward to sharing some great information with you. I am a member of the John Maxwell Leadership Team. And we've been going monthly through the book, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John C. Maxwell. So we're going to continue on this. And this is a training that is for both travel bookers as well as travel builders. If you've got a business, if you're an entrepreneur, this is important information to help you grow as a leader because you're a leader in business, whether it's, again, the travel side or if you're on the team building side. Any aspect of your life that you're operating in leadership in, this can be helpful to you. So let's get started. This month, we're on law number 4, the law of reflection. Learning to pause allows growth to catch up with you. Learning to pause allows growth to catch up with you. So let's get started talking about the law of reflection. We'll go through all of our points and then we'll open up for questions at the end. So if you have questions, feel free to kind of jot them down and then we will get to them at the end. Sometimes we have to give ourselves a self imposed time out. Our lives are busy and hectic between family responsibilities, work responsibilities. You've taken on the endeavor of being an entrepreneur. That also is going to add to your business. And all of these things are pulling at you. And sometimes you've got to take a moment to give yourself a timeout. So let's talk about the power of pausing. First, reflection turns experience into insight. Second, everyone needs a time and a place alone. Third, intentional pausing expands your thinking. And fourth, if you are a leader, pausing is vital to success. So let's start at the top. Reflection turns experience into insight. Think about that. All of the things that you're going through, if you never take time to go back and reflect, you're not able to take advantage of the benefits you've gained. When you learn, often I remember growing up that someone would tell me that, bought sense is more expensive. If I can learn from someone else's mistakes or observing what someone else did, that's going to be better for me. So often, if we don't take that time to pause, that time of reflection, we'll miss important lessons that are going on around us that were meant to give us insight, that were meant to prevent us from making certain mistakes or duplicating things or going unnecessarily through things that we shouldn't have to. So it's always important to include in your planning time for your self reflection, time to turn that into experience, into insight. Secondly, everyone needs a time and a place alone, especially for those of you who are single parents and you've become the mom taxi or the dad van. It's important that you not just go from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, never taking time out to find a moment for yourself. It is vitally important to your success, to your mental health, to you being able to see clearly what's going on. Sometimes you've got to step outside of the situation. How that looks in your individual life may vary, but it is important. I know we're busy, we're all busy, but you have to take time to give yourself some alone time, some space that no one is pulling on you, because that's how you're able to look at what's going on and make clearer decisions, make more clear choices, to understand what's necessary for your next steps. Take some time alone. Next is intentional pausing expands thinking. Taking that time, taking that break, putting yourself on a pause helps your mind settle down. It helps clear the noise so that you can expand your capacity. Often, if we just keep going and going and going and never stop, it clutters your thinking and you really can't focus. You experience that fog in the mind, so to speak, because you've not taken time to allow the information that's coming in to download or to process. So, the power of pausing is something we often overlook. We don't realize how important it is to actually take time for yourself, and give your mind a mental break. If you're a leader, pausing is vital to success because not only do you have all of the things from your personal life that you're managing and that are going forward and that you're leading, if you're a leader in business and the leader over other people, you also take on their burdens and needs as well. And if you never take the time to pause, you'll be rushing through or rushing past things that you need to be paying attention to. A leader who's too busy to take time to pause will often miss clear indicators that are right before them in their organization or in their family or in whatever it is the scenario that you're leading in because you were too busy being busy and didn't take the time to pause so that you could take a moment to reflect and process what's going on. I'll let that sit there for just a moment. So, next, we're going to talk about the power of I. First I, investigation, meaning find meaning in each experience. When you're reflecting over something and you're wondering, why did this happen? That is a key question. What was that thing? What is the purpose of this? What was the meaning of this experience? Your next I, incubation. Slow cooking your reflections. Take that moment to don't just determine the meaning and then keep running on. Take a moment to let it incubate. The young people say, let it cook. So you want to take a moment and incubate those things. What is it that I was supposed to learn out of this? Illumination. Place value on your experiences. Often we're so busy, we're not taking that moment. So if we're pausing and something has happened and we're looking at what did this mean? How, what am I supposed to do with this? And then ranking it. How important is this? How much value should I place on this experience? What also goes along with that is based on whatever number, so to speak, that you assign to it, that will give you a clear indication of how much time you should invest in it. Because sometimes we waste time over things that really aren't that important. And if you don't take the time to pause and evaluate whether something is worth all the effort you're putting into it, you may wind up wasting time unnecessarily. Our next I, illustration. Expand those experiences into lessons. Now that you realize, okay, I see the value in this experience, I've thought through what it is and I know what I need to do with it. Now expand upon it into lessons. What can I learn from this? How can I apply this now that I recognize that this happened for a reason and the reason was to bring me to this new conclusion, this new revelation? How can I implement it? Let me expand it. So then comes, well, what's the right answer? That depends on whether or not you ask the right question. So once you realize that something is happening, you're taking this reflection time, you're looking in it and you're looking at yourself, then you can say, okay, now that I see this, what's happening here, What is the question that I should be asking myself about this? And the answer to that, again, will depend a lot on what it is that you're looking at. So think about how we run through life day to day and everything's happening. And if we're not careful, we'll look up and we've given our personal self, our personal development, no time. We've been just busy. So sometimes we have to ask the question again, what is the value of this? Help me prioritize whether or not I should be spending this amount of time on this particular thing. Is it something worth it? But the good questions are the heart of our reflection. If you take the time to pause and ask the right questions, you're going to learn something new. You're going to delve deeper into yourself so that you can grow in areas that you might not have previously paid attention to. Now, Anthony Robbins said, successful people ask better questions, and as a result, they get better answers. So if you're asking the right questions, you'll get the right answers. So let's start talking about some personal awareness questions. Number one, what is my biggest asset? And I do want you to jot these questions down, whether you screenshot it, but I want you to actually answer them for yourself. What is my biggest asset? It could be any number of things. It could be your attitude and outlook on life. I don't know the answer to your question, but I want you to answer that. What is my biggest asset? Your next question, what is my biggest liability? Do you have unrealistic expectations? Is that what's holding you back? Next, what is my highest high? What is the thing that just takes you over the moon instantly? As soon as you think about it, it lifts you to your highest. What is your highest high? And what is your lowest low? What is my lowest low? Now, between the highest high and the lowest low, often for many people, the highest high could be their family, for instance. But at the same time, their family can be the same thing that can bring them to their lowest low. And I'm sure some of you have had those family moments where you can see the answer to that question. But whatever your answer is, it is important for you to answer those questions. What is my highest high? What is my lowest low? Let's keep going. Next question. What is my most worthwhile emotion? Yes, I want you to get in your feelings for a moment. What is your most worthwhile emotion? You know, what's your least worthwhile emotion? Are you judgmental? I don't know. John Maxwell talks about self pity. But whatever those answers are, there isn't a right or wrong answer to any of these questions. Your truth is your truth, and it's the most important one for you to recognize because if you pause and get the answers to the right questions, you can move forward and be more successful. So let's look at our next one. What is my best habit? So think about that. A habit, the thing you do over and over again. What is your best habit and what is your worst habit? But when you think about habits, understand that behaviors that you repeat over and over again have an impact on your outcome down the road. So sometimes we may have habits that we think are harmless or innocent, but if it's something that's reoccurring and you do it over and over and over again, you're perfecting whatever that is, whether it was a good habit or a bad habit. People don't just wake up one day and have bad habits. It's something that they have practiced over time, meaning an investment has been made and you've given of your precious commodity of time to a thing over and over again. And is that thing taking you in a forward trajectory or is it taking you back? Is it taking away from you? Now, H.P. Lytton said this: what we do on some great occasion will depend on what we are, and what we are will be the result of previous years of self discipline. Our habits are based on our discipline. So if we're not disciplined to a thing, well, and I actually will balance that. I think sometimes I talk to people who say, well, I'm not disciplined. And I would say you may not be showing discipline in the areas that you need to, because bad habits are a result of discipline, just discipline directed in the wrong way. So you want to know, what are my best habit and what is my worst habit? Just a couple more. What is most fulfilling to me? What is the thing that you really get joy from doing? Again, we're talking about the law of reflection. We're talking about asking ourselves the right question while we're on pause. So, what is most fulfilling to me? It's often sad when you talk to people who have had long careers in things that they don't enjoy. Often people enter into entrepreneurial endeavors on the side, so to speak, a hustle, a side hustle, or a thing to do in order to find fulfillment because they've worked and dedicated years of their life to something that brings them no fulfillment whatsoever. It perhaps paid well and paid the bills, or was the expected thing, or at the time just seemed like a good thing to do. But if we're asking ourselves the right questions during the time of reflection, answering something and understanding what is most fulfilling, what is it that brings you joy and brings you happiness? For me, as a travel agent, I really enjoy seeing new travelers have their first experience at something. It is just amazing feeling and rush that I get when I hear back from my first time traveling clients about, their first time experiences and the great time they had, and when they're thanking me for helping them have that. For me, it's very fulfilling for me to help train others and see others reach their potential. But that's what's fulfilling for me. What's fulfilling for you may be something different, but it's important that you figure it out. So that way you can make decisions around being most fulfilled. Next question: what is my most prized possession? What is that thing? What is my most prized possession? I need to know because, again, understanding these kinds of things is really going to help you because, like, let's see, as we're going through this list, knowing the answers to these questions is going to help you. Now, your most prized possession, it could be a personal trait, it could be an achievement, it could be a tangible thing. I don't know. That answer is yours. But I want you to, again, think about, what is my most prized possession? Next, what do I not know about me yet? What am I still yet to discover about myself? Now, I know we had a few of you that joined after we had started. So, as a really quick recap, asking ourselves the right personal awareness questions We said, what is my biggest asset? This can usually be something that's a mental trait. What is my biggest liability? It's usually an attitude or a habit that we have. What is my highest high? An emotional response. What is my highest high? Or who is my highest high? Oop, I'm sorry, I skipped one. What is my lowest low? What brings that response that brings you down the most? What is my most worthwhile emotion? What is my least worthwhile emotion? What is my best habit? What is my worst habit? What is most fulfilling to me? What is my most prized possession? And what do I not know about me yet? What do I still need to figure out about myself? And that is not just because I'm young. There are different stages in life, and there's always a new discovery about yourself that you need to make in order to embrace and be true to your authentic self. So, as we go along this particular journey, because again, we're talking about law number 4, the law of reflection, the journey's going to be worth it, but it is a journey. We don't get there overnight. But if we don't ever take time to pause, it's going to be hard to get there at all. So, as we're going along that road, it's important that we slow down. Take a moment, take an assessment. After you do something major, take a time and reflect on it. Soak it in, appreciate it. If you accomplish something, even if you fail at something, it's important to take moments of reflection so that you gain the full lesson that was meant to be gained out of that situation. And if you'll note, I said, even when you fail, and I would dare to say, especially when you fail, if it didn't turn out the way you had hoped it would, you've got to take a pause. You can't just keep running on to the next thing. You've got to pause and reflect and figure out what really happened here. What else could I be doing? What else should I be doing? What could I've done differently? So, the journey is worth the trouble. So, in this section, let's talk about it. This kind of introspection is very rare. Most people don't stop to really assess and reflect. They just keep going and keep going and keep going. And they go from one point on the list to the next point, and there's nothing in between. But for you, if you can do this, no matter where you are in your leadership journey, no matter where you are in your business, no matter where you are in your personal life, if you take a moment and say, I need to really reflect for a second, as we mentioned, let it cook. Give me a minute. Let me take a deep breath and pause and understand you're going to be in the distinct minority of people because most people never do this. They just keep going. That's often how people experience burnout. Seeking to know oneself is the key to reaching your own potential. If you never take the time to know what's fulfilling to you, you'll never be able to apply yourself to those things that bring you joy and fulfillment. You'll keep putting them off. You'll keep them on a side, like a side item on the plate instead of the main entree. So, to take that time of reflection to really know and understand. Now, when it comes to business, and in particular a business like this one, it's important to look at the I will say that often when in our business, you have people that there's the debate or the distinction of, am I a travel booker? Am I a team builder? Am I a hybrid? Which one is good? Which one is bad? Which one is better? Which one is right? Which one is wrong? And the truth of the matter is that answer is really personal. There isn't an official answer for the person who is uh, an avid travel booker who gets fulfillment from that and is really thriving in that, then being a travel booker is the right thing. For that person, there's some people who are just phenomenal network marketers, and the building side is their thing. And that's what they get great joy out of, building teams. And that's perfectly fine if that is true to their and authentic to who they are. Some people do both. But even for people who do both, one or the other usually carries a little more weight, and they're more lean toward one side or the other. But if you've never taken the time to figure out the answers to that for yourself, and you're just running after what someone else told you, you could be experiencing things that are unnecessary, struggles that are unnecessary, applying pressures to yourself that are unnecessary because you didn't have the right answer to the right question before you got started. All is not lost, because today is a great day to start figuring it out. Because again, for some people, they want to really do one or the other. And you, as a leader, it's important that you give your team space to figure out this answer. And I know that because there are those of you that you're trying to build your team to whatever levels, and so you are applying a certain measure of pressure to your teams. But the individuals on your team have to have that buy in. If you get the buy-in where the members of your team understand this type of introspection and they want to build because they want to build, your team will flourish without it being a pressure situation from you. For someone who is on the road to being a gold consultant, finding three legs in their business that will go to silver. If being silver is important to someone in their own personal business, they will become silver and stay silver and beyond because they want to, because it's their desire, because it brings them fulfillment, and you won't have to police that for them. Imagine that. What if your team grew organically because the individuals on it grew at the pace that was important to them? Now, of course, it's always wonderful if you can find enough of them to grow and you become however many stars you have in your dream. But my point is allowing the individual members of your team to realize this answer. It's much easier to coach a team that wants to play. And the same thing comes to play when it comes to being a business owner on a travel side. When you understand the value that you have as a travel agent and you gain fulfillment from doing that, that joy that emanates from within, that confidence that emanates from within because you're doing something that brings you fulfillment, it translates over to your customers. And your clients are going to convert at a much higher rate when you are your best travel agent. So it's important to know yourself, because that's the key to reaching your own potential. You have come this far, so don't slow down now. You don't want to just say, oh, well, forget it and retreat, but you want to come to the realization of who you are and what's important so that you can apply your foot to the pedal in the right direction. Often people experience burnout and frustration because they feel like they're just wandering in the wilderness. They really don't have direction. So if you've come this far along the journey, don't give up on it. Don't slow down and say, you know what, I think forget it. When we say pause, we mean just take a moment to get clarity, to get the focus on the right things, and then apply the gas. Once you find your niche, once you find your jam, as they say, with the thing that resonates with you, selling that is not a hard thing to do. This weekend was the SoCal Boot Camp, and I sat at a table with some ladies who have what was quite obvious. They did not have to tell me. I instantly knew just in being in their presence that they had an immense love of Disney. And it just emanated from them. So when we were on the topic of things that pertained to Disney, it just bubbled and flowed from them as if they were a Disney cast member. Now, if I were looking to buy a Disney or to purchase a vacation of a Disney product, they could have sold me right then and there just off of their sheer enthusiasm and joy in talking about the product. It's important to recognize that because if you are into cruises, that cruise joy should show when you talk about cruises. And conversely, if it's not there, it just sounds like you're reading from a script. It's a big difference. So taking that moment of reflection to figure out what it is, because again, I know we all want to make money in our business, but I'm here to tell you if you figure out the right answers to the right questions about your business will grow and the money will manifest and come in because you're in the right lane. So that's our training about the law of reflection. So I'm going to go back real quick because I know we had someone who had a question about something we had earlier. So when we were talking about the power of the eye, this is what it was so that you can take that screenshot. So investigation, incubation, illumination, illustration. Again, as you're finding your place as a leader, twofold. You're going to find these answers out for yourself individually, but understanding these concepts also relates to you when you're leading other people. Because often, if you can understand these things and take this journey for yourself, it gives you insight into how to manage your team. Because your team is going to be made up of people who need to do these same things as well. If you've got a person on your team who's just floundering, they probably have not figured out what their place in the business is yet. And as a leader, if you can help guide them into finding the right niche, then it's not hard. For people who love cruises and our travel bookers who book cruises, selling cruises is not work, quote unquote, for them. Now, it's when they're trying to sell those other products that they really don't have knowledge of and don't have passion about that it seems like it's work. Researching something that you love, it's something that's going to bring you joy. If you're a specialist and you're into doing wine tours and know everything there is to know, and you're taking your time to learn about those kinds of things, clients who want that will absolutely love you. And when they buy from you, your commissions will come in. But if you're busy talking to people who don't even drink, but you want to talk about wine, you're probably in the wrong room. But you got there because you hadn't taken the time to investigate and figure out what was fulfilling to you when we looked at those questions earlier. I want you to look at it from that perspective. Taking this pause, taking this moment of reflection is going to give you valuable insight into yourself so that you can make the right choices. And the wonderful thing about being an entrepreneur, unlike having a traditional position in corporate America, for instance, is you get to change your job description at any point. If you didn't like it the way that it was, you could change that. If you listened through and you started doing this assessment and reflection, and you realize that although I'm trying to do this, my passion and I get joy and fulfillment from that, you can change your trajectory from doing this to that. And I intentionally didn't add a specific thing in. I called it this and that because I don't want you to feel led based on, well, she said this, maybe I should try that. I want you to put the work in. I want you to do the reflection because when you reflect on yourself and you get the answers for yourself, the journey will be worth it. It won't be easy, but it will be worth it. And once you figure it out, it won't seem like work when you do it. Often I look at those of us that are working our traditional job in the daytime, for instance, and coming home at night and trying to work your business, so to speak. If your business isn't giving you that fulfillment, it's going to just, and you say, I'm just so tired and I can't. But if you're working your business and your business is something that brings fulfillment and joy, it energizes you in that same time frame. So I want you to look at that, do that time of reflection. I'm asking you to take that moment to put it on pause. And it's okay to course correct. That's the wonderful thing about being an entrepreneur and having a business like this. Just because you came in on day one thinking, oh, I'm going to do this, now at this stage in the business, if you decide, you know what, I think I would really get greater joy from my business if I did that. Or maybe you were scared to do team building because you didn't know, but you want to learn about it. And then once you learn about it, you discover, hey, I really like this. It is okay just because you said, quote unquote, I want to do this. I don't want to do that. It is okay for you to change your mind. If you're a team builder and you want to become a hybrid and do team building and travel booking, that's okay. You're not anchored into one because of that or the other. Or if you were a team builder and you're learning, hey, I think I really enjoy booking travel, that's okay too. But it's important that you figure out the answers to those questions so that you do that which gives you fulfillment. And you never get there if you don't take time of reflection.